So, hey, everybody. Gotta clear my throat. Welcome back to the Heavyset Podcast. And I've got old JustyBug here with me.
Hey, guys. Nice to see you.
It's funny because let me get off this screen. It's weird that I'm watching this. So it's been a while. We've already made a couple attempts at this for some test videos, which may result in some good bloopers for us, possibly. Who knows?
We'll see.
But it feels good to be sitting across from you again, old JustyBug.
It's been, how long has it been since we've done this? Months and months and months?
I believe it was October. If you recall, episode 32 of the Heavyset Podcast, we were stuck in Lendoso Woods fighting against the beaver squatch. If you haven't listened to that, go check it. It's audio only, so go check that out. And also, by the way, before we start this, go subscribe to the Heavyset Podcast YouTube channel. Hit the like button, turn on the bell, I guess, whatever they say. But we're going to start uploading.
What do they say? Pound that like button.
Pound that like button, JustyBug. Pound the like button. But the audio files, we may not have audio podcasts for a while. This is a new development.
This is a maiden voyage for us, and we do not know what to do.
Yeah, I've got all this stuff. I'm not the most tech savvy individual, but anyway, I lost all the audio files that we had. So everything we've done is gone.
You lost everything?
Every episode. So, which I guess space-wise was a good thing, but it kind of made me sad. But it won't let me, I can't figure it out. It just happened today, but we can't record our audio version. So YouTube, Facebook right now is our only outlet. Go subscribe to the Heavyset Podcast YouTube channel. Oh, JustyBug needs a new coat. But yeah, we were stuck in Lendoso Woods. We defeated the beaver squatch with the help of Count Fatula. Like I said, if you don't remember, go back and check it out. I think it's episode 32, the last one we've done. And since then, when we decided to take a little hiatus, a little snooze, a little snoozy poo, a 6-month hiatus.
Half a year later, we're finally refreshed and ready to go.
For me, I was like, I got to do something. I got to do this because I was just, I was getting lazy and you get in that stagnant just schedule. And I was like, I'm not happy. And I need to start getting these juices flowing again, if you will. Start putting something out there.
Start to spark that creativity.
And now look at us. So what have you been up to?
They are looking at us.
They are looking at us. And we love you. What have you been up to? Seriously. I really haven't seen, we haven't seen a whole lot of each other.
No. Work mainly. But I tell you something that I did do. A couple weeks ago, went to Texarkana, and there is a video game store that I like called the Mom and Pop Game Shop. It's only open on the weekends. Anyways, the only console that I own from when we were kids is our Nintendo 64. Now, all I had was a console. Well, I decided to get some games for it.
Wait, it's the original 64?
It's our N64.
Yeah, it still works?
Yes, still works. I just had it in a cabinet, just locked away. But I tell you what, we've had some rough times here recently in the Hawthorne clan.
It's been a tough go.
But it was some good medicine? Buying Zelda Ocarina of Time, turning on that N64, and hearing that music.
Oh, yeah, that nostalgia just takes over your whole body, and it kind of feels like you're in a different place.
Takes you back to when you were a kid, and things were simpler, and reminds me of being in the rock house, where we grew up in a house that looked like the outside was rocks.
We grew up in a house that looked like a rock.
Looked like a rock.
Well, we did.
Called it the Rock House.
Do you remember the setup we had back there, too? Because at one point in time, we had that, 70s porno-style looking couch in our room.
Grandma's old couch.
Me and you were sleeping on bunk beds. which is just funny to think about that now.
Yeah.
But we had that couch in there, the TV, but you had that station set up of all the, we had a GameCube and Xbox. Like we were living high on the hog at that point. Like we had never experienced that before. I remember looking at you and being like, hey, I think we made it.
What you got, Chris? You're right there.
I tell you what's funny. We're missing Rye Buns.
Yeah.
We're missing. Ryan's the heart and soul of this show. With you want to know my updates?
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you.
You can't even update me.
Our lighting's going out. I wish people could see at home what we have rigged up. This is the complete. I don't have a good lighting system. I got a broken bum lamp over there, crooked, just staring at us. And it's going in and out.
It's flashing on and off.
But with me, I don't know. My life's a sticky wicket, JustyBug. I broke my wrist, as you well know.
Yeah.
That's about. That started some dark times for a moment.
Tell them how you broke your wrist.
I guess I'll tell the story. I don't know if it's really that funny or not. I guess it's kind of funny. But here's what happened. And it was awful. I had that shower up as hot as it was going to go. It was steaming in there. Anyway, and I had I always showered in music. So I had music going 24/7. But I was listening to The Big Machine by the Goo Goo Dolls. And I had it on repeat because I was super feeling that song that day. And I was like, living in the big machine now.
Never heard of it.
It's a good tune. Not their best, but I like it. I haven't listened to it since then. I'll tell you why. So anyway, that steaming, I take all my clothes off, about to hop in the old shower, I slip, my foot slips. I whack my wrist on something, I guess the ground, and my head hits the toilet seat. And the toilet seat's still broken from my head hitting it.
It's still broke. You haven't replaced the toilet seat?
I haven't replaced it. So anybody who comes over just kind of pinches them, they're always like, hey. I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. But nah, I fell down and I knew something was bad. I knew this was all jacked up. But and the door was shut, so I was locked in there. And there was the heat of the shower, because the shower was going full heat. And so it was just getting hot and steamy. I'm in there in pain, just freaking out. I can't get myself up off the ground. I'm here alone. And then what's funny is about all that, my first thought was when that happened, I don't know why, you have those random thoughts, but I was like, how in the heck did people in the 1800s survive? They would just have to deal with this.
You just have to die, Chris.
That's what I felt like in that moment. But then Ryan starts calling me, and my phone is on top of the counter. I can't reach it, but I hear him calling me, and I know it's him. Like, oh my gosh, I can't reach it. Finally, I'm like, all right, you got to get yourself up, out of here. So I just put this arm and just pick myself up off the ground. And Ryan's calling to check on me, as I hadn't talked to him in a while. Well, I call him in a panic. He clearly knows something's wrong. He goes, are you okay? I was like, I think I just broke my wrist or broke my arm. He was like, good Lord. I was like, when? I was like, this just happened. He was like, I was just calling to check on you. Now you're telling me all this. It's like, it sounds like you're dying. Anyway, then I went and laid in bed and just kind of thought about it for a moment. And then, you helped me get dressed. I know that.
Yeah. See, you had told Dad.
That's right.
And Dad called me. He's like, Chris fell. I think he broke his wrist. I'm not really sure what's going on. I know Dad didn't know if he needed to take you to the doctor or not. So he made me come over here and check on you. He didn't care enough to come check on you himself, so he sent me.
Dad was busy. He had stuff going on.
You're like, you think my wrist is okay? And you lifted up your arm, and you had this bulge coming out of it. I'm like, I think you needed to go to the doctor.
It's funny, because I was going to sleep it off. I was like, I'll be fine. Because you know me, I don't like going to the doctor. Hate it. Which who does?
None of us do.
None of us like going. So anyway, I was like, yeah, I'm going to sleep this off. Well, you come over. And you come in there and you were like talking to me. And I was in some pain. And I was like, just like, yeah, I'll be fine. Like, I don't think it's broke. And then you had to help me. Finally, you looked at me and was like, Chris, I know you don't want to, but you need to go to the emergency room. And you think you helped me put my clothes on. And then we went. And that was a whole experience in there. Should we talk? I guess I'll tell you about that. Because we'd walked in there and like, what's funny is they'd started giving me drugs. So I was getting loopy. And then Dad was in there with me. And he was just trying to in any situation, we're going to joke about anything to try to make light of it, try to make everything feel better. And Dad told me, he's like, I don't know if they told you this, but he's like, they're going to have to put a catheter in you. And I was like, dude, what?
For a broken wrist?
I was like, why? Like, why for a broken wrist? Like, I can stand up and pee. Like, I'm fine.
No, Chris, we got to do it like this.
Because I had one before and I hated it. So I was like, I never want to get one. I don't want to get one again. And he had me cooking up for a moment. I was like, yeah, they're going to take you out there and like put one out. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't go through this again. Like, no, there's like, I was like, I refuse. He's like, calm down. Like, they're not going to do that. But anyway, then they ended up giving me a bunch of drugs. Like my bone and my wrist were like sticking up. So they had to pull them back straight. So he's like, we're going to give you some medicine that's going to knock you out for a little bit, and we're just going to start yanking on your wrist. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm knocked out, then, it is what it is. And they gave me this medicine. They're like I'm still talking to everybody, and they're like, talking to all these nurses, talking crap. And they're like, do you feel sleepy? Or like, I feel all right. I was like, I can tell I'm drugged. Yeah. But I said, I feel okay. And then he's like, then they were so unsure about it. Like, are you sure? Like, do you feel this? Like, you should be sleeping. I was like, listen, I'm like an elephant. It's going to take a lot of trank dogs to put me down. And then I finally looked at him. I was like, hey, listen, I want to get this over with. So just do whatever you got to do. I don't care how much it hurts. And they started yanking on this thing to pull the back. I grabbed my shirt. Like one of the nurse women had a hold of my shoulder. Yeah. And she was like rubbing, like trying to soothe me. Over, I just grabbed a towel, or I think it was my shirt actually. I just bit down on it. I was like, oh my gosh, it hurts so bad. And then I went and I'll tell you did I tell you about the panic attack I had?
Not that I remember.
Okay, well listen to this. I went to go have surgery a whole month later, by the way. I had to jump through a lot of hoops for that. It was ridiculous, but when I went, and I hate going under. I don't like going under for surgery. So anyway, I went and had surgery. But when I had woke up, I had just forgot where I was at. I had that mask on, and they put that tube in your throat when they're doing surgery. Yeah. To help you breathe. But when you can't breathe, because that's been in there so long when you're out, I was like, I couldn't swallow or breathe.
Hyperventilating?
Dude, I freaked out. I was like strapped in this bed. And then those nurses come over like, hey, calm down, sir, calm down. I was like, where am I at? I was like, you just had surgery at so-and-so hospital. Like, just calm down. And I just ripped my oxygen mask off. And finally, she calmed me down. And one of the nurses was like, you got to put that mask back on. The other one's like, no, like, he's fine. It's like, let him go. Let him relax. But anyway, that was a long ramble.
Quite a wild ride there for you, Chris.
And I still can't pick up like a gallon of milk or nothing like that. And I still don't have full bend of it. It's better than what it was. Yeah. But the way I broke all those bones in there, you just said it would be a while.
I've actually never seen you not wearing your brace.
Well, I got tired of I felt like it was healing itself weird. I don't know how to explain that to you. I quit going to the doctor to forget x-ray. So I don't even know if it's healing properly or not. I was just going to wing it.
You can beat it.
I'll beat it.
So anyways, Chris, we're here. We're making a video. What are we here to talk about today?
JustyBug. How long has it been since you watched a documentary?
Not long. I watch documentaries all the time.
I feel like the way you're speaking is like very proper.
Yeah. That's what I try to do. I'm always proper.
Now, back in the day, me and you used to be documentary watchers together. Or were you with that? I don't know what it was, but I knew that you loved them and I loved them. So one of my favorite things of thinking about, from all the fun times we had was getting together and watching these.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about 3 in particular, JBug. Which first one do you want to talk about?
How about Blackfish? Sounds a little racist.
Well, probably this Blackfish is a documentary about the whales and animals at SeaWorld.
Killer whales, specifically.
Well, Justin, since I've been jabbing, why don't you talk to me about what you thought about Blackfish? Tell the people what it was. I got some stats I got to pull up.
Okay. Blackfish, first of all, it's a documentary about, like Chris said, about how they treat the animals at SeaWorld, their environment, but in particular, it talks about a specific whale named Tilikum. And this son of a gun had a rough go of it.
He was captured in like 1986. Did you know that?
I didn't realize it that long ago.
Yeah, he was an old freaking whale. Go fact check that for yourself, if just in case. Because I may be telling you some fibs, but from my research, that's what it was. Sometime in the 80s. I just cut you off. You go ahead.
Anyways, this whale, he was caught as a baby, and then he was put in a water park. It wasn't a SeaWorld park. It was some like smaller oceanic animal park, and they put him in like this tank with other whales, like full grown whales, and they just like bullied them because basically, if you're not, it explained like if these whales aren't in the same like family group, they don't communicate with each other, so they just bullied it and like tortured it.
So they get together and they all chastised it.
Yeah, so this whale got a mean streak. And at that park, didn't he kill somebody at that park, or did he just pull them into the water?
I think he killed somebody at that park. I'm going to give you a stat.
Okay.
4 people have been killed by killer whales or murdered by killer whales. 4 people in the history.
Yeah.
Or so since they've been recording. I can't remember what year they started recording this, but trust me, it's been a while back. And this was back in 2022. Yeah, it's 2023, right? This is not.
Yes.
This is like,
Yes, Chris.
bro. The way I've been going, I don't know what day it is or what year it is.
What drugs did they put you on when they did that surgery? By God, what did they do to you in that Bermuda Triangle?
Yes, I love that. My God, man, what did they do to you at that Bermuda Triangle? No, but 4 people have died, been murdered by whales, unfortunately. Tilikum killed 3 of them. He killed 3. The other one was, I don't know, some whale named Frank.
Like I said, he had a mean streak.
And what's crazy about this is that, of course, documentaries they're supposed to make you feel a certain way, and every documentary, for the most part, has a agenda. Clearly, this was the agenda against SeaWorld, but I was a little reserved because I don't go into it just agreeing with it. I'm like, well, let's just see all the facts. But they presented a pretty, good case that this was inhumane.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is even after he killed those people, and I know they would spend because he pulled one trainer in by her ponytail.
Yeah.
And drug her under, and then it was just a bad deal.
The documentary shows, that SeaWorld bought the animals from that park when it shut down, and they got Tilikum, And in the documentary, it shows where he was working with a trainer, and he grabs the trainer's foot and pulls him down to the bottom of the pool and just holds him there and tries to drown him.
I remember that. That was crazy because you have no control.
Yeah, because there's no way you're getting away from that well.
Heck no. Do you imagine me dropping that pool? Like, I can't get out of it. But I'll tell you, by the way, this well died in 2017, so he's no longer alive. But did you know that he had 21 kids, or 21 baby whales, whatever you want to call it?
No, I didn't realize that.
So this guy's genes are pumping through a lot of different wells in the SeaWorld community right now, whatever the hell it is. But yeah, and man, that was the end. That's the end of Otilicum. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot more bloodshed probably with his little spawns running around. I actually think it said that he had 21 kids, but that only 9 are still surviving. And I think he's like the first grandfather whale.
Grandfather whale?
Like, grandfathered in, or was a grandfather and like worked with his grandkids.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They're whales. But if you haven't seen it, go watch Blackfish. It's really fascinating. Like, and watching the killer whale, just the force of it, like the power of that thing, and like just dragging that person's foot. I mean, it was like the guy was like just a rag doll. It's so strong.
Yeah. And then like it showed like how they were like capturing these whales too, and it's pretty sad.
It is pretty sad. Separate because they separate them from their family.
Yeah,
and then you can hear them crying. Oh,
yeah, because they would like force like the babies into a corner.
Yeah,
away from their families, and the families would just be like right out of right off to the side, just crying, wanting their baby back, and they're just. It's sad.
It is.
It's sad. A good watch.
I think if we were whales, do you think I would have been the one that was giving up?
Yes.
I would have been the worst, like, whale to train down there. I'd have been so lazy and like, I ain't doing no flips. Well, of course, if they gave me crackers or something like that, like, yeah, I'd probably do it. A couple
crackers.
Of tricks. Whatever they feed these whales, chum.
Fish.
Fish, I guess that would be the correct thing to say. Would be fish.
You beach on it and they rub your belly and give you a fish.
Hey, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, if they're going to rub my belly and stuff, I'd get behind that, no doubt. I remember seeing, I think about like being a walrus. Like,
well,
you ever think about that?
No.
You ever think about stuff like I used to hate walruses.
Had a lot of encounters with walruses.
Well, I'm not necessarily hate's a strong word. I just always like, what's the point? Like, But the more that I've like watched them and stuff, like I think how cool they are, like how like if I had to be an animal, might as well be a walrus, big old fangs. Because I think they have some of them at those shows too. You see them out there with all little whiskers, all chumming it up, getting fed and fed. And they don't have to do like any special tricks.
Mr. Tusk.
Oh, Tusk is a horrible movie.
You don't like Tusk?
That movie bothered me. There's some movies that I can't watch that just affect me in a negative. The Butterfly Effect's one of them. I don't know if I've ever even finished it. I might have watched it once, but I can't watch that movie. If it's on, I leave. Tusk bothered me. Other stuff bothered me. But anyway, that's probably about all we got about Blackfish.
So what's the next documentary on the docket, Chris?
JustyBug, let's talk about Unhung Hero.
Huh?
For those of you listening, maybe if you got kids now, you may want to tell them to go to bed. I don't know.
This is a good documentary for you to introduce, Chris.
What's sad is when I planned this out, I was like, I'm going to make Justin talk about this first because I didn't want to address it. But we're going to, because that's what we're here to do. So for those of you that don't know, Unhung Hero is a 2013 documentary about this man named Patrick Moot. And what's so funny is like basically it's about this. This guy's got a small dong, like a really small dong, and this whole documentary is about him, like basically like trying to find out like if size matters, that. And he's looking at different surgeries. He's interviewing all these adult adult film stars, getting their side of things. Like one guy with like the biggest dong in the world, he interviewed him and talked. And like he went and interviewed different doctors. But this documentary starts out. His girlfriend, he proposes to his girlfriend.
Yeah.
She leaves him because she goes, I can't marry you because she goes, your dong's too small. Which has got to be, she just sounds like the devil.
That would just, to the bone, cut you down.
Dude, we watched it together. Whenever oh my gosh, my heart sank for that poor guy. Because this dude's, he's putting his dong out there in the front lines and it's just getting laughed at and mocked. And you just feel for him, man. You feel this guy's pain. And in the next scene, he goes to the doctor. And the doctor is like examining it, like giving her, and it was a chick
like
too.
Measuring it.
Yeah, giving her opinion on it. And I don't think it ever actually gave you the exact measurements. Hell, I never would either.
They already know it's small. That's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. But she was even like, yeah, and it's all filmed. It's so brutal. And she was even like, yeah, like this is like what I would consider below average. Yeah. It just was like, oh no.
Your heart goes out, Tom.
Yeah, and I will say this. That's what it's about. He's trying to find out if it really does matter or not. But it is a feel-good documentary. It has a good ending. We'll spoil the ending. Someone's coming in. Someone's creeping in. Who is this? Oh, it's Derek.
What's with the music?
Dude, we've had that doorbell for years. We were hanging out one day. Derek come over, and we didn't realize that it played all these different songs. You could turn the volume up.
Yeah.
And so he just picked one out. Ever since then, now that little chime plays. Kind of creepy, to be honest.
No idea.
One night I come in late, and I actually bumped it. It started going off like at 2:00 in the morning. Woke him up. He come out. He was, what the heck is going on? And he's like, I just accidentally bumped the thing. Derek, people can't see you right now, but do you have a message for the folks? That he does not. Good seeing you though, buddy. We'll talk in a minute. But anyway, so this documentary, he ends up, there was a girl he started talking to at the beginning of it. And the way it basically ends is he decides to go against the surgery. He's like, because of the surgery, it's so invasive. Like, and it showed pictures and like videos of them like doing. I was like, my goodness.
You got to tell him, this a big part of this is his quest to figure out how to make it bigger. Like, is there a way to enlarge it? Surgery. I forgot about that. I mean.
Yeah, because it went through all the techniques, which I'll go ahead and tell you they don't work.
Yeah.
But you go ahead.
I don't know. You guys might not want to listen to this, but I remember first he tried like a pump, but you remember I remember one of the next things he tried was he went to, was it India? And the guys were like putting weights on their things and stretching them out.
I forgot all about that part.
And they were like it showed it, and they were like purple. Ugh. Like,
purple is my favorite color, but it's not the color I want my dog to be.
You're like, I don't think this is gonna work, boys.
Yeah, and because nothing's. Oh man, could you imagine putting a tiny old weight to it, just tossing her over the ledge,
using it as an anchor, just.
You got nothing on your side. I bet old gravity's on your side.
But yeah, he checked in the surgery, which I think was the last thing he checked into. But the next to last thing he checked into was It was some sort of injection. And you remember the guy that was doing it shows up to a hotel room to do it. First of all, it's really sketchy.
Yeah.
And then one guy that had this done, has had this injection, shows the guy his junk. And he's like, well, it is. He's like, maybe. And then the guy's like, okay, well, here's the needle, this big old needle. And then here's what I'm going to inject you with. And he has a 20-ounce Coca-Cola bottle with some sort of looks like vegetable oil in it. Then shows that guy pacing around. He's like, I can't do this.
Yeah, because I remember, it was at one point they showed it was really bloody and just so invasive. I mean, anything with that's going to be super invasive, even when they say that it's not invasive. Man,
if there's one thing I don't want people cutting around on, it's that.
Ugh.
Or sticking a needle in it, or whatever else.
You should try a catheter out.
No, I shouldn't.
You will one day. We'll do it for fun.
No, I don't.
What about a
so.
vasectomy?
What about it?
Maybe it might be too personal of a question, but would you ever get one or have?
I would.
Ooh, I don't know if I could do. I could. You just said you wouldn't have anybody cut on you. That's good. That's
not my. Well, that's like a known procedure, like a routine procedure.
Very true.
This isn't like some sort of experimental dong surgery.
Why don't you let me do your freaking what's that called?
Vasectomy.
Vasectomy. Why don't you let?
No, it's like
hold still, JustyBug. Hold still.
It's like you remember, Grandpa Hawthorne used to fix cats. You remember that? Yeah.
He used to fix cats.
Yeah, he was neuter them or whatever. Because remember we got cats.
Oh my goodness, is that real?
Yeah, I remember we got cats. And I remember Dad talking to us about taking the Grandpa Hawthorne so he could do a little minor surgery on him, I guess.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Man of many talents, Grandpa Hawthorne.
Man, he was like, what's so funny? He was like a man's man. Yeah. So is Dad. Me? I'm as soft as that Angel Soft toilet paper over there. If you handed me a cat and was like, hey, neuter this thing for me, I'm like, I ain't chopping anything off this cat. I'm like, just let it be. Leave it alone. What were we talking about?
Unhung hero. Feel good movie of the year.
It is a feel good because the way it ends. Wait, before we move, we've hung on this one for a long time. By the way, before we move on, do you remember when he went to I think it was someplace in China or somewhere, some Asian country, and he was at this bathhouse or something, and he takes a camera into the shower with him, and he's just filming himself. But of course, you see all these other naked dudes around. Of course, he's gonna blur them out. They don't know that though. There's a camera in the freaking shower. Yeah. And you remember that one guy notices it, and then they chase him out of there. And it's legit. This is really happening.
I don't blame him. I would chase somebody out with a camera.
Yeah, I'd be uncomfortable too. Who wouldn't? But that part cracks me up. But anyway, feel good documentary. This documentary ends. The girl he was previously talking to in the film, they end up together. And what he finally realizes is that it doesn't matter. You just got to love yourself. Or at least that's the way he spun it.
Yeah.
Which is a hard pill to swallow, JustyBug.
Love the way that God made you.
Just wish the good Lord could have blessed me with a little more. But, and I actually listened to today too. I was trying to find out what he was up to now. Apparently not much, but he did give an interview to kind of talking about it for a little bit. And he's like, I was more embarrassed by my insecurity in the movie than the actual, issue. He's like, he finally came to terms with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, you just gotta be confident who you are, love yourself, and it'll all work out for you. He's exactly right, by the way.
Yeah. There ain't nothing you can do about it, so. Why not embrace it?
Well, there are things that you do, but you got to go to Tijuana, Mexico, and have a dude inject your dong with a 12-inch needle out of a Coca-Cola bottle that you don't know has got what in there.
A little bit of vegetable oil in it.
Anyway, so that was that one. What's our next one, J-Bug?
The next one is the Winnebago Man.
Ah, yes, the Winnebago Man. Let me see if I think I had something pulled up for that. Trying to remember the dude's names, I forgot. Jack Rebney.
Jack Rebney?
Rebney. J-Bug, I'm going to tell you something. This guy has got to be one of the most insane people I've ever seen.
Insane?
Insane. Because, or do you want to explain this? I feel like I've been talking nonstop.
This documentary, there's a video is on YouTube of this guy. He is like a Winnebago salesman, and he was like filming the like infomercial videos for it. Was it like in the 80s?
Yeah, something like that.
And somebody had posted the bloopers, the outtakes from these infomercials, these commercials he was making. And this guy has a mouth on him like you would not believe. And he is just going berserk.
Multiple minutes of footage, and he is cussing like a sailor. Like he's tripping up over his lines and stuff, and there's just so many mistakes, and there's a ton of them. And every time he makes one, he goes off the rails and just cusses, says all the worst words you've ever heard. And you're like, man, this guy. But what's funny is, I'm about to choke. What's funny is that the people worked on that show, of course, hated this man's guts.
Yeah.
But they hated him so much, and they were so shocked by what they'd seen that this is back in the VHS days, but they put all that footage on like a VHS tape of him flipping out. And of course, as you know, things like that resurface on the internet. So this hits YouTube, and sometime or another hits the internet and just goes viral. Of course, known as the Winnebago Man. You should go watch it on YouTube. And then this gets turned into, they make a documentary about this man. Yeah. And it's called The Winnebago Man.
Yeah, this guy loves that video and thinks to himself, what happened to this guy? So it's about him searching, trying to find the Winnebago Man and him trying to interview him. And then when he finally tracks him down and he goes and interviews him, and he just seems like this nice, sweet old man, not cussing like a sailor, not appearing as he did in that YouTube video. And he was like let down. He's like, man, this is just, underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So then some time goes by and he's like recontacted by Jack Rebney. And Jack's like, listen, that wasn't me. I knew you were coming out here and filming me. I wanted to be, this nice, sweet old man. But that's all a lie.
And that should let you know who you're dealing with right there. Because that's what I thought too. I was like, maybe this guy's just like misunderstood. Maybe he's having a bad day. But no, as soon as that happens and then he goes back to film, and that's when you see who he really is.
Yeah, this guy's a scoundrel.
A scoundrel's an understatement. But what's funny too, it's like, he's going blind, which going blind's not funny, but I mean, it's just, he's living this crazy life, and he's living like out in the woods and somewhere in California, like way off out in the boondocks. And as far as we know, he only has one friend, which was my favorite part about the whole documentary, was that guy.
Yeah, this guy and his quote.
This guy's dressed like he owns a yacht and looks like a man who might be made of money or trying to act like he's made of money.
Like he puts on.
Yeah, but like you can tell, the sad part is, the biggest thing I took away from this whole thing was his friend. Is that you can clearly tell during the whole thing that he's trying to get screen time.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, does this guy even really care about Jack, about the Winnebago Man? I don't think he does.
He just wants to be famous.
Because the whole time, the whole movie or the whole documentary, he's doing all these one-liners, and then like he done one that we quote still to this day. I'll let you say it.
Let me say it. He's talking about Jack is talking about all this footage be on the cutting room floor, whatever, and then after all this, Jack's kind of famous, and this guy is like, now if you remember, old man. This whole thing began on a cutting room floor.
And he puts his, I forgot, he puts his glasses in his mouth.
But yeah, me and Chris quote that all the time because you can tell this guy's like, man, this is gonna be in the trailers for this documentary.
Yeah, that was his golden goose right there.
This is the zinger.
If you remember, young man, this whole thing began on the cutting room floor. God, that's so funny. Every once in a while, Justin will send me videos. Hasn't in a little while, but he'll quote that man. And it always cracks me up.
I'll do the Snapchat filter with the top hat and monocle and the mustache, and I'll quote that to you because that's what that guy reminded me of, a fake rich guy.
But I couldn't find a whole lot of information about Jack Ribney. I know he's in his 80s now. I think as far as a few years ago, he was still alive, but I can't find anything out about him.
Yeah, like after all this, I know at the end of the documentary, he like embraced it. It was kind of like going around.
Yeah, doing like Comic-Cons or tours or whatever.
Like meet and greet type things. Sure, he was cussing folks out. Sure, they were eating it up.
Yeah, because it honestly worked out for him.
I mean, that was his shtick.
Yeah, because that's your character now. So now, and if that's who you really are, well, then have fun with it.
Just like an unhung hero, embrace it.
You got to embrace it, man. You got to embrace who you are. The biggest lesson from today's podcast: embrace who you are. This is the Heavyset Podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
So, Chris, where do we go from here?
I'll be honest with you. Wonder how many minutes we have been going.
It's probably been like 27 minutes. But it feels like
we're at about 42, according to this, 42.
Feels like we've been at this for a while. I guess because of our setup.
That's what the thing is too, setting it up. Just I don't know, and even the lighting we got now.
This is probably gonna get trashed whenever it gets posted. What kind of low quality BS is this?
It's a work in progress, JustyBug. This whole thing is a work in progress. We got to start somewhere. We could just do what we always do, post this and then disappear for 6 months so that nobody ever hears from us ever again.
Everybody's calling, wondering where we're at, if we're okay.
But I don't know, JustyBug. It's a new chapter. We're going to see what happens.
Hopefully next time we'll have Ryan here to pull this thing together.
Ryan is really the backbone of all this. I always tell people Ryan's the heart and soul of all this.
Aren't you the driving force?
Ryan is the heart and soul. I am the driving force that'll push us up into the upper echelon. But
Ryan's the straight man. You're the funny one. Ryan sets him up, you knock him down.
I don't know.
Isn't that how it goes?
I don't know.
And I'm just kind of there.
That's what's funny is, everybody, you feel like you got like a role to play. Like I always told Ryan, because, Ryan is like, and I'm glad because somebody needs to be, like the topics we talk about, the research and stuff he does. He really, puts his heart and soul into it, goes in depth. Me? Not so much.
Ryan always has a notepad of notes.
Full of notes.
Look at us.
I've got a bum wrist. That's all I got.
We looked at each other. You looked at me. You're like, we're just going to wing this? It was like, yeah.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something. I've been winging it my entire life. Not the best place because of it, but it usually ends up working out. I don't know, and I'm glad that you're starting to get back into the mix. You weren't there for a little while, but it's good to have you. I'm glad you came here today.
Yeah. I always wanted to be a part of it, but just couldn't with the way my schedule was at the time.
You're always a part of it, JustyBug. Everything we've touched, everything that I touch, you touch. By the way, speaking of touch, I want you to do something real quick.
What?
We'll end it shortly.
What do you want me to touch?
Okay, this is legitimate. I want you to take your hands, rub on my right hand, and then do my left, and I want you to feel the difference. Be ginger with it. No, you got to go the other way. You got to go up.
I gotta go like what? I gotta go like that.
Yeah. Do it. I mean, get a feel for it.
This is some sort of weird trick. No, what have you been doing with this hand? Okay.
Probably audio sounds terrible. Now do it with this hand.
Why is that one so much smoother than this hand? You been lotioning up that hand?
Okay, I probably should explain why my right hand is extremely smooth and moisturized. But no, this is
yes, you should explain.
What's really going on. After the surgery I had, my skin on this hand was like flaky and peeling off so much. It was bad. I looked at it one day, it scared me. I was like, I got something going on.
Okay, anyways.
Well, anyway, this is too weird. I don't know. I'm a weird guy. Anyway, so I started like working on this and peeling all it off. But I've noticed ever since then, dude, my right hand is silky smooth.
Yeah, ladies.
I may not have much else to offer, but I got a silky smooth right hand. But yeah, is that weird? I'm glad that because I thought it was just me. Because I've been rubbing on it. But you.
That's a George Costanza hand. That's a man's hand.
I got one good hand, sort of.
That's the busted up hand.
But anyway, you got anything else you want to add, J-Bug?
I really don't think I have anything else to add.
Well, we're getting back into the saddle. We're greasing the wheels, trying to get this thing not to squeak anymore, trying to get this thing to get rolling. So it's a work in progress.
We miss you, Ryan.
Rye Buns, if you out there, don't know when I'm gonna see you again. I got a feeling though. So I've been talking to him. We're gonna hear from Rye Buns very soon, I think.
Godspeed, Ryan.
In the meantime, I'm gonna try to crank some out. Hopefully, crank some out with some friends of mine. We'll see how it goes. I'm not gonna make you any promises, J-Bug.
So here's the first and last video.
See you in 6 months, everybody. As always, what did I used to say?
You can contact us.
Oh, as always, feel free to contact us at the Heavyset Podcast at gmail.com. Want to send us an email? I've talked to a few people on there. I love it. It's kind of like Christmas. I haven't checked this email in months either. I need to get on there and see. It's been a long time. But I'm sure we've lost any listeners we had. I'm sure have moved on.
Remember, hit that subscribe button.
Go
down that like.
Facebook, the Heavyset Podcast Facebook group. Go join it. Have yourself. Let your hair down and get a little nasty in there. Who cares? YouTube. The Heavyset Podcast. Heavyset's just one word. It's our YouTube channel. Go like it. We're just going to start uploading all this crap in there. And for audio,
we're going to have to figure that out.
I'm going to have to figure that out because we got a whole situation going on with that right now that's I can't figure out. So, I want you to go home tonight. I'll tell you what, JustyBug. Go home this week. Just do it make it a whole week thing. Take one burden, like something like like your wife doesn't like doing. Take one burden away from her without making a big deal of it. Don't let her know that, even though maybe she'll watch this. I don't know. Sorry if y'all watch it. Take one burden away. Something that she doesn't like to do is whatever task it is. But don't make a scene of it. Don't let her know you're doing this on purpose. Then report back to me, see how well it goes for you.
Chris, I want you to do something for me. Something that you want to get rid of from yourself. I want you to think of that thing. I want you to write that on a rock. You just throw it in throw it in the backyard as far as you can. Just cast your cares away.
I got a lot of cares.
So see how that works for you.
We'll try it out. We'll both try it out. All right, everybody. Any lasting words?
Hey, hope this turns out okay. Thanks for watching. Probably nobody watching right now, so if you did make it this far, thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate the views, the listens, the feedback, everything.
Thank you for joining along on this journey. I love you guys. Hope you're doing well, and you will hear from us maybe not in 6 months.
Maybe.
Okay, love you guys.